Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanum pakhair ragale ni hao chune shumme washmale ohaya gonzaimas guten morgen hola bonjour previous and a very amazing assalamu alaikum khush amadid to everyone who's tuned into PT World and watching World this morning. Thanks to the very fabulous, the very pretty Maha Makhdoom and Shahzad Khan. Hello Maha, how are you today?
Hello Shahzad, thank you very much. I'm very good today. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Shahzad, how are you today? You're looking very smart, very dashing today.
Oh, thank you very much for saying that because I was expecting that whenever I have to open the show, so I kind of give you compliments, but then I never get them back. But still makes my day. Thank you very much, Maha, for doing that.
It's okay. But anyway, we have a wonderful show lined up for you. This week, we've had some really exciting shows, and I've been really, it's been cheering me up a lot because, I've had a few difficult days since the weekend as we've been exploring on the show.
No, but other than that, whenever, it has to do something, whenever we're doing a show where the topic is or probably about women, Maha is always very excited as well. But, Maha, well, I don't certainly have to be the sheep today, right?
No. Well, it depends what you say. So if you provoke me, then you might become the sacrificial lamb again.
So I think we can make this public statement as well, and that is that, just because of the fact that we have to make a point, so we take positions, for example, go the other side of the picture, or she stays on the
devil's
same side
advocate.
Of the picture.
So someone has to be devil's advocate. But anyway, we have a lot to cover today. So let's look at the top stories around the world and in Pakistan.
Let's do it. Good morning. The Economic Coordination Committee has allowed the export of 1.5 million metric tons of sugar in view of the availability of surplus sugar.
Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi has directed the power distribution companies to upgrade their distribution networks.
I hope it helps. The International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people is being observed today.
And the semi-finals of the National T20 Cup will be played today at Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium. The first semi-final will be played between Lahore Whites and Faisalabad, while Lahore Blues will take on Fatah in the second match. Fatah, sorry.
It's all right.
I wasn't expecting to do the sports.
Last but not the least, Pakistan's Hamad Hadi clinched the title of 29th Princess Youth Cup Scrabble Championship in Thailand.
Congratulations, Hamad.
Wow. And he's young too.
Yeah, excellent.
And you can only win Scrabble if you know spelling.
And, Pakistanis, making Pakistan proud and taking their own initiatives most of the time, like we saw yesterday, like Ahmed Mujtaba Wolverine has been doing. But now, let's go to our public service message.
And she's going to do
today
the
I'm
honors.
doing it.
All right, Maha, so what is it?
Okay, so this is a serious one. So unfortunately yesterday I got some sad news that one of my friends' mothers had passed away. And, until we have some sort of loss that we don't really appreciate or value the people in our lives or, maybe practice that tolerance or patience or love that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. So it just made me realize yesterday that, life is unpredictable, it's short, and you don't know what you have in store for you. So, try to live every step with kind of love and patience and, appreciate and value the people around you because you don't know how long, they're around for, and once they're gone, it's
exactly, it's sad. And even other than that, Maha, as a matter of fact, there's been an increase in heart attacks which has been taking place over the years. But as a matter of fact, I think we need to change our lifestyles to go to a doctor for at least a checkup after every 6 months.
Yeah.
And it won't cost you much. People, please make sure that you stay healthy and wealthy because we need you, because we love you too.
Exactly. So that is our public service message. But now to move on to the show. It is about tolerance. It's about acceptance. It's about giving respect to people. As you know, we started this, well, we also, in line with White Ribbon, we started the 16-day campaign.
So I have it in my pocket.
Yes, so I also have it somewhere as well. And it's about highlighting what the issue is, and it's about men and women moving together to make the society evolve so that women have equality, they have rights, they have justice. And equality doesn't mean usurping someone else's position or replacing someone. It's about walking side by side. So anyway, let's...
And then there was a bill passed as well in 2012, which was, moved in the Senate, and then it is against violence against women. So as a matter of fact, what we see over here within our society is that the women are still not able to voice their concerns or probably go to a person and say that, this is what happened. But other than that, You know, there was this very creative thing which happened. What was it? So there was a theatrical play.
Yes, so there was a performance, and a lot of people are getting on board with this campaign, and they're highlighting using different means. So there was a performance held at the Swedish embassy ambassador's residence, and I went there, and it was fantastic. It was so powerful, moved me to tears at moments as well. But we have something to share with you. Let's go take a look at a video clip showing you what we're going to be discussing, and when you come back, we'll continue our conversation.
And the name of the play was Seven?
Yes.
About a month. Then she stops calling. She's one of those I could not save.
Seven is based on interviews with 7 prominent women rights activists globally.
When I started my work and would speak to the police, they would say, "Oh, come on, women don't feel loved if they're not beaten." I was astonished. He beats you, therefore he loves you. It's a Russian saying that comes from the 16th century. From Domostroy, household rules. Written rules stating how a household should be run.
She called me Mukhtar, which means powerful, self-respecting. Somehow that was very strange for me, because I'm very thin. And in my culture, a thin person is considered weak.
The 7 speakers actually provide you with not only 7 stories, but 7 very unique portrayals of those stories, 7 very unique readers, each bringing them within themselves the endorsement for the support to the women's cause.
She calls for about a month.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, so that was a small clip we shared from the theatrical play Seven, and it took place over here in Islamabad as well. But as of now, I think what we need to do is we need to raise more awareness, and that's why we have been joined with some amazing guests over here in the studios. So let's get started with the introduction.
Yes, so we're very lucky. We've been joined by Ingrid Johansson. She is the ambassador of Sweden to Pakistan, and she was a reader and organizer of this project. Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And alongside her, we have been joined by Director Planning and Fundraising, Pauda Pakistan, national partner in this project, none other than Ms. Naik Parveen Ashraf. Hello, Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Assalamu alaikum ji Shahzad Maha, thank you, and we are doing very well.
Walaikum
Thank you so much.
And we're wearing the same color. Very nice.
Yes, excellent. Thank you for being here. Besides Ms. Parveen, we've been joined by Momina Mustahsin. She is an engineer, mathematician, musician, and a social activist. She was also named by BBC 100 Top Women for 2017, the only Pakistani to be mentioned on the list. Assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Me.
Thank you. Okay, besides Momina?
And last but not the least, we've been joined by somebody who's been on the show on and off, and she's a great human as well because of the work she does. But other than that, today she's over here as in the capacity of a counselor. She's none other than Ms. Zara Maqbool. Hello, how are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
very much
being here.
joining us.
Thank you so much for joining us on such an important topic. And yeah, I'm really excited that you
You
guys
want me
actually...
to say that again? Okay, so people, Maha will be leading the conversation,
Thank
all
you.
right? And men are going to sit besides
And
in
support.
support.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Okay, so let's get the conversation started. You are one of the organizers. The performance was held at the Swedish residence. 7. Why 7?
Yeah, because it's a very, very current topic that it deals with. The equal rights and access to justice for women. And it's done, we chose to do the play because it's sort of an instrument to gather people around the topic and get involved. And also a play is it's unique because it engages people not only sort of in ideas, but also in emotions.
Okay.
And since I was also reading, I can tell you that it does bring you to a sort of a different level of engagement.
Okay.
You really feel it, and you feel not only the part you read yourself, but you feel the whole play, each voice.
Yeah.
And it's also very powerful to do something together. It's very rare. I very often sit on podiums and discuss and debate, but then I represent myself and the ideas I sort of present. It's not the same as doing something as a team together.
Absolutely. Okay, let me move on to you, Ms. Parveen. Why was it important that we had a national partnership with something like this, especially with such a powerful play as Seven? It was amazing.
Especially for somebody who's director planning and fundraising.
Actually, it's my passion. I mean, since my childhood, and I'm involved in women issues, and violence against women is one of the issues we are working on.
Right.
As you can see, it's very important in terms of that in different societies, whether it's the West or in the East, we all are human beings, the human society, the men and women, So that's very important to see. This play has been presented or read in 39 countries, and we need to collaborate here to understand the importance of health, of equality. Equality in terms of you have to be equal. If your constitution gives you the right of equality, like in the 34 Constitution, Article 34, very clearly talks about the equality of men and women, and it also says that nobody will be discriminated on the basis of sex. So, and there are many laws.
Yeah.
Despite all this, in the Pakistani society and many other societies also, because we are living in Pakistan, so we talk about Pakistan. This is our society we have to work for, and we have to make it a better place to live equally and together in a peaceful. And we think that if at the personal level, in the family level, if you don't operate equally, or if you don't give equality, equal chances to children, daughters and sons, and equal chances to at the society level, in the school, everywhere, then in the job opportunity, and even before the legislation and just judicial system, if you are not treated equally, if some of the judges or somebody gives the comment that it's a woman, so that is discriminatory. That
All right, we will definitely talk about all of those issues where there's no equality being ensured. But other than that, let's ask Momina over here. Why do you think there was a need for you to be on this platform or raising voice, even though you are an activist yourself and you could have done it all alone by your Twitter handle?
So Twitter, that's a great thing that you brought up. When I receive certain opinions from certain people, or when people criticize my opinions, I don't actually respond on Twitter. I actually invite them for discussions. Maybe because we're all a work in progress. It's best to always sit down together, especially people who are advocating for the same cause, which is women empowerment. It's better that we sit down and discuss and learn from each other. The reason why I chose to be one of the readers for Seven, I was really honored that I was invited to be one of the readers. But the reason why I thought it was really important that I also raise my voice in this this play was because there are a lot of people who look up to me, and there are a lot of young girls and young boys even who want to hear what I have to say. And I think as somebody who has influence in the younger generation, I think it's my responsibility to talk about things that are important.
No, that's wonderful. And it's great that you got involved, and it does create, gets the youth also engaged, especially we're trying to engage Pakistani
Starts
youth.
the conversation.
Exactly. Now, when you decided to get involved, like Shahzad said, we have a lot of lone rangers here. Everyone's slowly working on things. So the importance of uniting, do you think that it's happening across the board, or do you think it's a long way for us to go before we actually are on the same page for discussion?
I think it's improving.
Okay.
I think we've made a lot of progress in coming together to talk about the same issues and understanding and listening, not to just respond, but to absorb.
Okay.
I think we're working on it.
Excellent.
Okay, we'll just move on to Zara over here. So now, Zara, I think my question is going to be very interesting over here, since we started our conversation with Momina from their Twitter handle as well.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, social media obviously gives us the opportunity to express whatever opinion we have. And then when we say that, we do have younger population who actually follow us or probably want to see what our opinions are, just in response, I think this was a very better way to have them over for a conversation. At least you end up with one point, inverted commas, right? But now what happens on social media
Or
is-
even 2 points and decide
but
to
we can,
respect opinions.
Yeah, respect their opinion too. But on social media, what happens, even if we say that we think that it's getting better, but then we do see counter narratives coming up again and again. So how do we, I think we need to probably put it in a box too as well, that this actually is the limit, and beyond that, you cannot really say anything else.
Because people get very brave behind the screen.
Yeah, and just on social media.
Yeah.
Well, see, as far as she's concerned, she is in a position where, like you said, she can influence because a lot of young girls and young
That's
boys
what counselors
look up to
do
her.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I, in my capacity with my clients, I was just telling Maha earlier that most of my female clients have one thing in common, which is low self-esteem. So I really want to talk about that we focus on violence against women in the adult capacity. We're looking at adult women and thinking how we're going to work on it. More than that, it's very important to focus on how we are bringing up our girls.
Okay.
Like I have a 14-year-old, and one thing I want to work on is for her to learn how to say no, how to create boundaries. I mean, we condition our girls to be people-pleasing and to be self-sacrificing. And for me, I think that work is more important than just, I mean, this is equally important. But I mean, as a mother, if I have a daughter, I think it's my responsibility to focus on that first.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So now
Yeah.
this one of these campaigns like this play, it raises awareness and it teaches them that these are the things that could potentially go wrong. With some of the stories, like I mean, for some reason, I've really gone towards Mukhtar, my situation, but that's hundreds and thousands of people in that situation. That's a representation of the ills within a society. But when you have that, how important do you think it is to take these things to the schools? Because I was thinking that would have a huge impact. Would you support something like that as a mother, as a counselor?
Yeah, I absolutely. In fact, I reached out to my daughter's school a week back that I would really like to speak in these schools if I given the opportunity, because we sort of assume that women in rural areas are only taught to be self-sacrificing for their husbands and their brothers. I was surprised when I started my work how extremely like educated, empowered women, socially aware, has the issues similar to the women in rural areas. Like they're taught to sacrifice, they're taught to tolerate violence in the capacity of a marriage, or and it's mothers who sort of teach that and condition them to behave like that. We think if maybe it's coming from the father or the brother. I was surprised that it's women teaching other women to be like this.
Okay.
So it's like a cycle, toxic cycle that just goes on and on.
That's why I wanted to come back to the point where we shared the clip, and then there was this one statement that, if he's in love with you, the beating is fine.
Yeah.
So imagine that our mothers were from that generation, and how do you think that the daughters are going to change? Anybody who wants to speak
so
about
let's start. Everyone has to answer on this. So we'll start with Zara and we'll work our way down. Okay, so Zara, what do you say? Because we're teaching girls that
the sentiment.
If you compromise, even if you're unhappy, but if you make the marriage work, it's successful, no matter what's happening.
Yeah, I'll just give you a short example. So like my youngest, who's 5, and once like I had a conversation with my husband regarding that when we force the children to go and hug uncles, and we say, okay, fine, you just go and meet up people. So even at this age, if she says, I don't want to meet up somebody, like go hug and whatever, I say that's okay. So at that age only, I'm teaching her to say no, because if she's uncomfortable about something, she has a right that she doesn't have to go and greet everyone just because she's cute and everybody, wants to hug her and hold her.
Very nice.
So, even small basic thing is a way of conditioning her to say no, whatever makes her uncomfortable.
Amazing.
Okay, Mom.
One thing about 7 is the fact that, really good thing about it, or sad part, I guess, is the fact that these 7 women, these 7 stories are from different countries. Yeah. Which just goes to show how women are treated all over the globe. The line that you're talking about from 7, he beats you, therefore he loves you. This is said by Marina, who is from Russia.
Okay.
So there's this big misconception of, not misconception, but I guess preconditioned. Women are preconditioned to always be accepting of how their husbands treat them. A lot of times they're abused, and abuse is not just physical, it's emotional, mental, psychological, somebody putting you down constantly, somebody telling you you're not good enough, making you feel that you're not enough. That's also abuse.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of us deal with it because
Okay, and like you said, it's a
She keeps on
universal
telling
thing.
me that too as well.
It's a universal thing as well.
It
and
is.
this is exactly what we discussed when we launched the 16 days activism as well. But
Ms.
yes,
Meg.
Ms. Parveen,
Yeah,
please.
in our houses, in the school also, like a girl coming from school, even if she has not changed her uniform, she'll be asked, bring a cup of tea for your brother. He's your brother. Why not serving him cup of tea, you know? If mothers only do this thing that, son, your sister has come from school, she's tired, can you please give her a cup of tea or a glass of water? Or if mom is sick, and or if the wife is going through special days and that's painful, and the husband brings a cup of tea for her, or prepare her dress she wears, or a mother is cooked up food for mother, a healthy young man, her son, she is sick, but she is conditioned to cook for her son and serve him, rather than the healthy, young, energetic man should serve the mother.
Yeah. Okay, no, and that's absolutely right. But this is, and we're still there, and we even have the educated, well-traveled people. I mean, educated doesn't naturally mean you're literate or you know how to live your life or you have common sense. But I'd like to bring Ingrid into the conversation. It's been a while since you had you in the conversation. Tell us about Sweden, because I mean, as we were talking before the show.
May I make a point on
this?
Oh,
absolutely,
yeah,
yes, yes.
Because I think it's very important to be sort of stable and proud in your tradition, and that there's a national context, a culture context to everything. But then, in addition, societies evolve.
Yes.
And I think the young generation growing up today is not experiencing the same realities as a mother or a grandmother. And I think that's maybe a point for the grandmother and mother to take into account. And coming back to self-esteem and other things, young girls and boys need to prepare for different challenges today. And I think that's very important to keep in mind. And you need to have a strong sort of understanding of yourself and your rights. You also need more education today than you did. You need to have a sort of different level when you start out.
Okay, but the thing is, we've highlighted that because, as we mentioned, like the previous week as well, it's even if you're educated, in UK, the domestic violence percentage is very similar to the percentages in Pakistan, and these are international figures. So. And in America, and you have all these things and abroad. But so it's a different form of education that we need here, like because Sweden, England, America, these are developed nations. They have a solid education system. Yet we're still seeing that.
We have even had graduates from Oxford, from over here in Pakistan, who've actually subjected not just women, but men towards violence too as well. And now I want to come back to a point where we talk about equality, Ms. Naik, when you were saying, so do we, I'm sorry that I'm going to be devil's advocate once again, but this is how it needs to go.
Yeah.
For example, whenever we're traveling in a bus or wherever, so, there are separate seats for ladies. Well, okay, if you want to be equal, why do we have to stand up there?
Exactly.
Or, for example, where else we are going, why ladies first in the queue? Then let's be it.
Ingrid, we'll start from Ingrid, and then we'll move on to Nick. Sorry. No, sorry, Nick.
No, it's all right.
Confused because I actually asked a question.
Okay, no, ma'am.
No, you go first.
Okay.
Yeah, I think all societies have that. Sweden ranks high on gender ratings and all this. Of course, we experience every day that a man opens the door for you or offers a seat or something like this. It happens. That's not the point. We're not supposed to be. We're supposed to be equal, not similar or identical in the terms how we live our lives. But it's about respecting each other's rights. And that can go on gender, that can go on other things as well. Gender is one aspect.
Okay.
So I think that's the main point.
I would like to, I agree to you to some extent. We don't need to be oversensitive about women and treat them like a crystal glass, Give them equal opportunities, equal training, equal education, equal skills, and give them equal opportunity. How many seats do you have in the cars? Believe me, Shahzad, as a school students, in our days, now kids don't go in public transport, and we do not have that kind of public transport. When I was a young girl, we used to go to college in a public bus. And the kind of treatment you get from the conductor, and will do their best to touch you, you know, like, but by any mean or any way they will do their best. But they touch the girl. They will make her feel uncomfortable in the public place.
So when are we going to get into that era where women can actually touch men too?
Wait, let's pause. I want to get this answered, because I want to add something to this.
Yeah, I have something to say. So, sir, I really wish that those seats or special queues were to actually facilitate women, and you know, like, just so they don't have to wait so long and like get their work done. But that's not true. The reason why those things exist, especially in our society, is only to prevent harassment. Because these men who make these laws also know that their women are also going to go out of the house and they will be subjected to harassment. So this is really not to facilitate women.
Okay, no, but then also you're talking about equality. Why do we give up? We get, as a female, as a male, when an elderly person comes in, we stand up to give them the seat. It's because we respect them. We say we respect women. The reason you get up and open doors for women is because you respect them. If you, like Ingrid said, it's not about being the same. It's about having opportunities. Now, if someone's being violated in their justice, in their social standing, I'm sorry, I'd rather stand in a queue. You can take that seat. I don't need it. So, you know, I don't need that kind of equality. I want true equality from the heart.
Should be your choice.
Right, exactly.
And I literally feel like a sacrificial goat lady.
You sacrifice yourself.
But the point is out there,
You threw yourself into that
And I think
train.
that you've made some amazing points over here
It's about being comfortable in public spaces.
Absolutely.
You can't get equality unless both the genders feel
But as a matter of fact, I think
safe.
women needs to feel comfortable by themselves, because nobody else can make anybody comfortable in whatever given situation, or not to be in that situation in the first place.
That's true.
That provided if
Yeah.
you give the equal chances, equal opportunities,
safety,
and treat it equally. And you know, like in the houses when girls are conditioned that they are delicate, and in the public spaces if they are harassed, and if the, you know, like now it's getting better because of the
You've got men
laws
like me.
Yeah, I'm saying these things. No, but
it be a choice, but not the harassment.
Okay.
You know?
Mobina, you wanted to add something on this?
No.
I thought you wanted to say something. Okay, now the thing is, I want to bring Zara into this, because you highlighted a very good point, and I do want to make sure we touch upon the power of the media as well. And I want to ask this as well to Ingrid after Zara, that you were talking about the culture of the society. We're Pakistani, so we're talking about our own society. And even abroad, you've noticed this. It's about people in power taking advantage of, you know, more vulnerable segment. Now, empowered women here, you know, if you are too outspoken, if you're going against the grain, you know, you don't agree with certain cultural or things your family say, you're labeled. Over here, you're given a label. Now, the thing is, so you've created this fear anyway. You live in a society where reputation, character, all these things matter so much. But when you actually try to express yourself, you're given a label which then attacks your character and your reputation. How are we going to get out of this vicious cycle and empower women to be, and men to respect that as well?
I totally agree. You know, just recently this friend of mine who decided to take a divorce and the custody went to the father, her own parents have isolated her.
Gosh.
And like she came from a good family, so now she has to find a job and she has to sort of become independent, because it was a mother who was most critical of this action. And she had been suffering from physical, like domestic abuse for the longest time. But because the family was powerful, and you know, she said, actually my mother would tell me that you need to sacrifice, and I mean, what's the big deal? I also experienced the same with your father, so what's different for you? And literally one of my clients came and told me that my mother used to tell me that I would get beaten up with a stick or something like that, and all he does is slap you. So what's the, I mean, you can't even take that, literally.
You can't even take it?
Yes.
Okay, so but now, Ingrid, you mentioned before when we were sitting that, you know, even Sweden, like over 100 years ago, was like this. But you managed to reflect and get, you know, make that evolution and change happen without offending anyone maybe, and without, you know, everyone going up in arms. Because over here, you see a lot of resistance when people do this. How do we overcome this? I mean, from someone who's gone through it in their history.
Well, the story of Sweden is that we're a small country, far away. We are now 10 million people. We're not even the size of Lahore, but throughout the generations, there has been a strive to try to develop the society. And at one point, you cannot do this without involving as much of the population as possible.
Yeah.
And then you need to move into giving the right conditions for women to be included in democracy, in the economy, and so on. And that sort of comes as a consequence of an ambition to evolve. And this has been going on. This didn't come overnight. This has been a constant evolution over, I would say that it started for real with the beginning of industrialism in the middle of the 19th century. And then it was emphasized through the periods of war when women needed to be included in the workforce and they needed to be engaged much more, and that it created a shift. The young women wanted to continue this and be part of this, and I think a great point is that it's not a zero-sum game, taking something from someone else. Yeah. It's that the total sum grows, the society grows, the space we're talking about. If, you know, talking about a bus, it's not about who's taking the seat. It's the point is that there's going to be more buses, much more buses, and space for everyone. I think that's the point. But it doesn't just happen like that, and it has to happen, I think, within your own sort of culture and traditional sort of
But I think I can relate to this situation as well, because over here in Pakistan we've got more than 50% of population of women.
Yes.
So they need to step up, they need to work towards the economy of Pakistan. This is the time of the need. But other than that, where you said that, you know, we needed to be inclusive, and then you made a point, Zara, that, you know, obviously you're teaching your daughter this. But half of the time, whenever we talk about violence or domestic violence, we just somehow related with married life. That's not how it needs to be. I think, I'm going to come back to this, but I think that we need to tell our fathers how to treat their daughters or their cousins or the brothers, even the brothers be their sisters.
All the women are nodding. So,
I think it's all about leading by example. That whoever, I mean, we talk about all these issues, but how many of us sort of internalize these beliefs in our behavior?
But that's not the point. For example, if a father is beating a daughter, you know, she won't say anything because
that's what I'm saying, that in an individual capacity, we have to be responsible for what we believe in. And we have to act on that belief and not just, you know, maybe go to a talk show or to talk over a cup of coffee, but actually internalize that belief and behave accordingly.
Okay. Like you just mentioned, that more women need to step up and, you know, get more involved in society. I think to empower women, it's imperative that we educate all of society, especially men, and tell them what empowerment really is. Exactly. It's basically just giving women also an equal opportunity, equal education, equal job opportunities, equal wages, and that's about it. So we don't have to necessarily work against society, but with society.
Yeah, we're not, that's not what the point is. The point over here is, for example, if I'm going to go hit my sister, she's not going to leave the house. She's not going to leave the home. She's not asking for a divorce. But when it's the husband or somebody from your in-laws, that's where we need a voice to be raised. Why?
I don't think so, Shahzad, if it is only that the case. And as in the society, the culture of impunity is a lot, and immunity. Women are taught to get immune with these unjust actions and violent actions and aggression against gender-biased aggression of men towards women, whether it's a brother or a son, or even sometimes son gets up before the mother, that you can't go away without, you know, like when you're going to school or job, initially there was the time they would say, okay, take a boy with you. It's the evening. How can you go out without a man companion? And who is that man companion? 5-year-old boy.
We've given this example so many. I think a lot of women have lived through this. But Ingrid, you wanted to add something?
I think I've been accompanying my sisters too when I was 3.
Yeah, but you're a giant.
But when I was at 3, I wasn't, right?
Sorry, did you want to add something on this point? Okay.
Can I add one last thing?
Yeah, sure.
So you just said that domestic violence is the only time we need to raise our voices. You know, out of the 7 stories in 7, there's only one story about domestic violence. It addresses so many other aspects of where women need to actually.
And when all my guests, you know, point towards me or look towards me while saying it, I think that, you know, this point is just for me, but it's not for me, it's for you people.
No. It's looking at you because you are looking gorgeous with that pink.
Okay, but you know what it is? It's not that they don't leave their homes. The thing is, your family, that's your safe haven. They're your blood. You're not the thing is, when you marry into something else, you know, into another family, you're trying to also run away and find, you know, a safe haven. So that's also another point.
One important point I would like to share.
Please.
Like,
need to talk about media as
when
well.
we talk of domestic violence, apart from domestic violence, like Mukhtar Mai's case, or just 2 months ago in Punjab, in the southern Punjab, there was a case that a girl, one of the boys or a man raped a girl, and according to the Jirga's decision, this customary institution's decision, the mother and the cousin, first cousin of the girl, a 17 years older girl, was offered to the victim's brother or survivor's brother just to overdo, to less the punishment of the
to humiliate
son,
the man.
save the son.
Okay, to humiliate.
What a shame.
And then also, then I read about this 14-year-old girl also being paraded, you know, because of honor. So now, okay, this is, we actually are running short of time, and you know, we all are, you know, have media platforms which we can use to raise awareness. But when you have things like this, you know, something so basically and just completely wrong. I mean, how do you even approach it? I mean, it upset me so much when I was reading this recently. It's just that we talk about respect, and it's not just Pakistan. We're not attacking Pakistanis. We're not attacking the culture. It's a rich, great culture with love and support and, you know, unity. But the thing is, 14 years old, 17 years old, and this happens to boys too, young boys. It's like, why are we, you know, when we're targeting such weak people, what do we do?
We must react, and we must mobilize around this issue. And I think there are actually things happening, and I have learned so much preparing this project. And we also have different new instruments. There are helplines. Our social media, yes, and our media campaign highlights some of these resources, and also support initiatives that aim at strengthening women and women's access to justice in whatever area it might be. And I would like to pick up on your point on education. The schools start talking about this early, and I think actually it's when it comes to the level of education, it's the basic education, it's the young ages. The message is sent there, and if you are empowered when you're young, if you're told that you are as good as your classmates, then you will also stand up later in life. I think that brings a new generation of more empowered people.
Ms. Naik, last words.
Most importantly, men and women of the society are like a one human body with 2 lungs. Must be treated that both the lungs have to be clean, healthy, and functioning.
Wonderful, great.
I think men and women both need to work together and recognize that empowering women will not just help women, but it will also help men and kids and the society and the economy. Empowerment is catalytic, and it will only benefit everyone, and we need to work together to make it happen. And inshallah, I see a bright future for us.
I just want to add to what I said earlier, that let's focus on helping our kids develop a strong sense of self. You know, earlier you talk about safety. Safety is more within ourselves than safety of our external environment. So if you focus on that we feel safe within ourselves, I think violence and abuse, it's easier to see.
We're going to call you back to break everything down and talk about it in a psychological term as well. But I just want to share that, you know, this play is being all over the world. You know, it's been watched by over 50,000 people. It's been performed in over 38 countries and translated into 29 languages. And it's 7 women from 7 different countries representing the hurdles that society and people are facing within communities across the world.
And even other than that, since it was about raising awareness, there's this helpline 1099. Anybody can actually call. It's not just for women as well. Even if you're a kid, even if you're a boy, whoever you are, if you're subjected to violence, call in this helpline. At least this is the first step which you can take in order to react.
Yes, exactly. And 1043 as well. Please tell us. Sorry,
this Punjab Commission has this 1043 free line, helpline, and we have, PODA has 724, this helpline, 0800 58888. It's a toll free.
Wonderful, and we will share and we will send all the information on our Facebook page. But at the end of the day, it's not about criticizing. It's about realizing that we need to raise our voices for people that are struggling. And you know,
It's like working together.
and the only reason I'm telling you, the reason why I'm empowered, the reason why I can take a, you know, stand up and fight anyone is because my father supported me. Although he doesn't support fighting, I mean verbal, you know, debates and stuff like
So
that.
Usman Waqas, we're out of the conversation here.
Okay, but with that, log on to our Facebook fan page,
Which is with the name of World This Morning.
our Twitter page,
World This Morning without a
our
J.
Daily Motion and YouTube page.
World This Morning.
And the repeat is
5
that.
past 11 p.m.
Have a wonderful day, and remember, it's not about usurping anyone, it's about moving forward together.
Till the next time, 1, 2, 3.
Good morning.